Okay. Pretty sure that's South St. Paul. We were raised. That was, I believe my dad purchased that 249 Fifth Avenue South in 58 or 59 from St. Paul. So they lived on the levee, the Italian levee, for maybe 8 to 10 years. Then they moved to South St. Paul. Now there's Busha, the original Busha. A little dark, gotta remember. This is late 50s, early 60s. I'm losing track of who's who, to be honest with you. There's my father, Busha, some of the kids. My maternal grandmother was quite tall. She might have been 5'5", 5'7". Polish, 100% Polish immigrant, tough as nails, hardworking. Her legacy, her family. Unconditional love. They love their kids. There she is. Look at how she's wrapping that baby up. Look how she's holding her. Now who's that? There's Mom and her mother. I'm losing track. 11 kids. I think Joe was the last one born in St. Paul, and then the rest were in South St. Paul. So that would be Carlo, Carla, Frank, and Paul. The last 4 were born in South St. Paul. Can you imagine that? My mom was pregnant all those years. There's a 20-year difference between number 11 and number 1. So it's a lot of years, man. I remember Busha. I remember the respect that both my parents had for Busha. And she lost her husband, my grandpa Joe, when he was in his 50s. Here's Auntie Carol. That's inside the South St. Paul home. Look at always food. Family, food. Faith. Church and celebration of food. Always something going on. Always something going on. Uncle Nick and his wife, Auntie Carol. My dad might be filming here. That might be one of Uncle Nick's children. Look at, my dad always used to say, eat the bread, eat the bread. In other words, be full. Look at that. I'm hungry now. I miss those times. And if I recall right, that was like roast beef sandwiches, peppers. Looks like Connie, Carla. Mom got her marriage ring on. Carla. Cake. Wow. My mom didn't bake much. She was more of a cook. Pastries and all that wasn't her forte. Just took too much time. Grandpa. Yeah, we had cigar smoke in our house. No doubt. What's going on here? A bunch of the boys. Is that Auntie Della? Della with a baby? Mom with... There's the towel! I told you about the towel. Wow. That can't be Paul. Can it? Auntie Della. It's either one of hers or one of Mom's. Yeah, these are a little dark. David. I believe that's David Bardis. Yeah, and that's Diane. They're visiting us for some reason. I don't know who that is. Is that Frank or Paul? It might be Frank. Yeah, that's Frank and then Paul. Is that Danny? My dad. Probably worked a double shift. Looks tired. Working all the time. I mean, to feed 11 kids. And that was not normal in our neighborhood. Connie. She was a good student. I remember she was a good student. Smart. I don't know about the boys. I wasn't the sharpest, I'll tell you that. So, my dad gonna help her do math? I doubt it. Oh, he's playing around. And they went to the first three, Jim, Tony, and Connie went to St. Bernard's in St. Paul. There's my mom's always used to bring us ice skating. There's my mom. Always used skates, figure skates. We all started out with figure skates. And that was, if I recall, Lorraine Park in South St. Paul. Look at, she's got all the kids. My mom's flying around. Carla, Frank. We'd go skating. I loved skating and I loved hockey. I ended up playing college hockey. My dad used to make fun of me, my athletic ability, but you know, I played high school, college hockey. It all started there at Lorraine, and my mom was the athlete. She brought us swimming too. There was, is that Louise? Connie. That's Carlo. I remember that coat. He wore that coat all the time. Oh, Mom fell. Is Dad filming? That's Louise helping my mom up. Frank. Look at the scarf. And all our clothes were hand-me-downs, Goodwill. We never got anything new. But you know what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter because that's how we knew. Everything was hand-me-down. But my mom was thrift. Really. She watched the coin, man. My dad picked the right horse when he picked my mom. He picked a workhorse. Something's going on there. I don't know where that dam was, but I would think it was down south, Minnesota on Highway 61. Well, there I'm wrong again. That's, which bridge is that in St. Paul? That's the Mississippi River. There's my mom. Maybe they, after skating, my dad took a ride. Didn't go places, didn't go to restaurants. No money. 11 kids. I believe that's my dad's car in South St. Paul. Is that a 65 Chevy? I know he was a Chevy guy. Looks great, doesn't it? Big car. And I think that was his first company car. Because at that time he was becoming a plant manager, general manager type thing. We had no clue. That's St. Augustine School. We used to walk to school. This looks like it's a confirmation. There's Louise. Louise is a confirmation. Yep. I bet you there's a Bauer. I know that's a Bauer. There's the nuns. There's Sister Bede. I saw Sister Bede, huh, Pete? There's Louise. I think my dad built the garage. I think he did. I think it was no garage and then he built the garage. That's South St. Paul. We had an alley too, and I remember being in the alley playing hockey all the time. Boot hockey. Oh, I'm not seeing something defined here. Oh, look at my mom. Look at a dress, and that's 1700 Oakdale. That's in the, I think my dad moved there in 67, 66. There's Pete. My mom. Oh, yeah, my mom. She loved us all unconditionally. There's Carla. Dad, Pete, pushing me away. I got my Letterman's jacket on. I thought it was so cool being a Letterman. Brady High School. I was so proud of being an athlete. Look at that hair. I push it to the side. There's Mom. That's a cousin, Vince. There's Vince. That's Uncle Nick's son. That's Michael. There's Tony and me throwing horseshoes once again. Tony broke his foot underneath a car. He was changing his oil and the car fell on him. Yeah, that's true. That's Joe and who's that? Carlo? Yeah, Carlo. Horseshoes. Michael. Cousin Mike. Frank. Goofing around with Mike. Frank wore that number 10 Viking jersey for years. Was that Fran Tarkington? Number 10? I don't remember. Oh, they had multiple t-shirts. My mom probably got them at the Goodwill. That's Tony's wife, Kathy. They had 3 children. Paul, who was the last one born. Uncle Nick, Tony, throwing horseshoes. You see? Family. It's Auntie Anime's kids. That's Connie's Jay, I believe. That's Wayne. Grandpa, that might be Jay in the t-shirt, white t-shirt. Tony, his wife Kathy. The boys goofing around. Oh, the younger kids are playing horseshoes. The next generation. little Jay. I believe that's Jay, Connie's oldest, who's now in his 50s. Yeah, we had, my dad had an acre? I think it was an acre of land. So that was considered big at the time. Who knew what taxes were? Who knew what the cost of a home was? We had no clue. My dad took care of all that. There's Grandma, my mom taking care of her hair. Yeah. In the backyard, Grandpa. There's the king. There he is. Yeah. There's the boys. That was, in a way, Joe on down. Joe is number, what? I'm 5, Luis is 6, so he's 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So Joe had the clan. They all followed Joe. Joe was the leader of the younger ones. That's Wayne. He was in the family for years. He was a boyfriend to Anime. Look at Paul. Look at those pants. That's Frank. Yeah. Look at Paul. He still waves the same way. There's Mom. Look at how nice she looks. Hair done. She did her own hair and everything. I don't remember her. There's Joe. I don't remember her going to a hairstylist, I'll tell you that. There's Louise, who became a hairstylist. Dad. Here's a kissy kiss. Oh, more than one. Daisy. Daisy was part of the family. That was number 12. Wow. Daisy and Dad. But it was really Mom. Mom loved dogs. Oh, she got earrings. I don't know if my dad bought them. There's Joe. Louise. Frank. Carlo. Mom, all dressed up. Must be going to church or something because they're pretty well dressed. That was Paul. Daisy. Daisy's laughing at us saying, they're not runners. Frank. Ooh, Pete. Pete. Look at, he was a stud. Yeah. Pete was at Brady. He started at Brady and then I followed him at Brady. Tony. Tony was St. Bernard's High School. Car. Oh, they're going somewhere. Maybe to church, because we couldn't fit all 11 in the car. You know? Now we're all fighting over who's getting the window. See? And then Carlo ends up way in the back. Yeah, it's Tony. Paul, I believe. Jay. Connie. $1,700. Dad, Mom. Connie. Where are they going? Walking up looking at plants? Or I remember my dad when we first moved there, there wasn't much for... Look at Connie. Wow. Hippie. Back. Look at those colors. Psychedelic. My dad started gardening later on, started planting stuff, but I remember him throwing rocks at gophers. We had gopher problems. And he'd throw rocks and actually hit them. And then he got a BB gun and started shooting them. And then I think he started using poison and got rid of them. Oh yeah, that's nice. My mother. Eventually, Busha. Connie in a miniskirt. Wow, back in the day. Her husband, Jay. Mom and... That was the dog next door on the other side. The Polta. I think the Polta family had that dog. Grandma and my mom. You see those chairs? Those chairs are famous, man. They're still out there. I mean, people have written articles in our... Oh! Grandpa, look at that. Oh, that's me. That might be a cousin. That's Tony, Jay. We used to play wiffle ball, softball, football, all in the front yard. It was big enough. It was wide enough. And that was a lot of fun. Cars, were parked, but we still hung out. There's Grandpa. Always looking like $1 million. There's Frank. Look at this guy. He's going somewhere. Yeah, good looking boy. Good athlete. There's Pete. Look at those colors. Pete and Mom. Oh, graduation. Billy, Frankie, Bob Leonard were Pete's good friends. And graduating from high school. Look at that. They'd party too. Oh, that's Pete in his gown. Wow. Yeah. And they were friends. Billy Frankie went to grade school with Pete. I went out with those guys a couple of times. They were party dudes. I couldn't keep up with them. There's that Simplicity, I think it was called. Who's Joe must have took over for me. We thought we were so cool driving that lawnmower. Here's Mom on that stair. There's Daisy. Okay.